Okay.
Welcome to another episode of Video Store Rejects. This is a podcast where we discuss directors' filmographies and our favorite film franchises. And my lovely wife, Jessica House, has returned. Apparently, she likes Ridley Scott movies, or he's just all over the place. He just happens to have directed some movies she likes.
Yeah, he's all
And
over the place.
we've got Chris and Lindsay with us today as well. Thank you guys.
Yay. Good morning. And I say
All right,
morning because it's morning to us. Y'all have probably been up for a while. Oh,
about 90 minutes.
okay. Because when I
Not,
text you this morning, I was still like laying down. I kind of woke up and I said, "Oh man, what time is podcast?" So I texted you and you said 10 o'clock, and I was like, "Okay," and I just kind of rolled back over.
yeah, I
But
got
then,
time. It's okay.
yeah, then I was paranoid. Then I kept waking up like every 5 or 10 minutes, like looking at my phone, like, well,
What if I dreamt that? What if it's not
yeah,
10?
what if? But we made it.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that happens. You're
We were
like,
actually debating if it was early for you because with kids, it could go either way. Like, oh, they've been up because they have kids, or oh, no, they're sleeping in. So, yeah.
Yeah, we take that sleeping in where we can get it. Because most of the time somebody's up with the sun.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, aren't they hungry? Like, as soon as they hit the floor?
As soon as
Like,
their eyes open.
Yeah. Well,
but,
they're like, oh, if you open a bag and they hear it, then they'll more than likely wake
crinkle a
up.
wrapper and suddenly
Like Olaf.
so what I'm hearing is having children's just like having a pet. They,
Does your dog regularly throw your cell phone onto the
no,
bed?
not quite. Doesn't quite do that.
Yeah.
But
We'll
he
learn
will
to
come into
learn
the
to
kitchen
speak
if I
and say,
open
"Mama,
or
Mama,
crinkle a bag.
Mama." Yeah.
But we're here today to do a odd double feature, even though they're both directed by Ridley Scott. One of them is one of your favorite movies, Jessica. That's The Martian.
Yep.
And the other one, also based on a book. The reason we decided to pair these two is because you saw this on a list for movies with hygge, and that's a good year. Chris was telling me they did not get to watch A Good Year. So, do we want to talk The Martian first, or do you guys want us to try and ramble about A Good Year for a little bit and then get into The Martian?
Why don't y'all go ahead and talk Goodyear, and then because we didn't get to see it, unfortunately, and I mean I know you said it was kind of mediocre, but I eventually do want to get to it, but don't worry about any spoilers or anything. So so if you want to talk
Here's
that,
your
because I myself I love The Martian as well, and I think it's a really great movie. So we could probably get into that one a lot more in depth.
Okay, so yeah, there's not really a lot to spoil in this movie. It's pretty run by the numbers plot wise. We were just talking about like all the movies he's made. Like Jessica's like he's all over the place. Like I can't like get a feel like watching one of his movies and being like, oh yeah, that's him. Like a lot of directors, you big name directors, anyways. I guess he's a big name director that doesn't really.
You can't you can't say that's a Ridley Scott movie, So, yeah, but all his movies are, well, not all, but most of his movies are really good. So, really big movies.
But we were teasing like if I tried to explain this movie to someone, they would probably tell me that movie doesn't exist. What are you talking about? I never heard of some movie with Russell Crowe in France drinking wine. What are you talking about? But and I teased, I was like, maybe they just wanted to hang out in France and drink wine. Well, apparently Ridley Scott has a house in France and he wanted to make a movie in France. He was like, I like it here. Why have I not shot a film in France? And apparently he's buddies with his neighbor, who was the writer of this book.
Oh, okay.
And Ridley Scott found a article about people spending like up to $30,000 on cases of wine made like at people's houses.
Wow.
And he's like, what do you think of that? He's like, well, that could be an interesting story. He's like, well, go write the book, and then I'll option the rights to make it into a movie.
I see.
Well, I'm more shocked at the fact that people are buying homemade wine for that much. I mean, I can make wine in my kitchen sink.
That's a rich people thing, Christopher. They
Yeah.
only pay that much if you have rich friends to buy your home
We'll
brews.
invite our rich friends over to buy my wine. Oh, wait, never mind. No.
Or you could
We
write
don't
this
have rich
for a
friends.
famous neighbor. You don't. It's all.
This is wine and friends.
Yeah, it's also France, guys, where like
Yeah,
wine is
It's
like
no, yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, a big
Like
deal
jailhouse
over there.
wine that you made
Yeah, it's not
in the
jailhouse wine.
Ocean spray bottles.
But okay, so the movie is basically he cast Russell Crowe because I guess they liked Gladiator, and Ridley wanted to do a comedy sort of, and Russell Crowe was like, yeah, I want to do something a little different where I'm not, well, let's be honest, Russell Crowe didn't want to be in a role where he had to be in shape. He's like, yeah, let me be in a movie where I can just eat and drink and
Well, that's every movie he does nowadays.
right.
I mean, good for him though. He's like, you know what? I'm getting older. I'm not in the shape that I used to be.
He's
I'm
not
going to rock
Cinderella
this
Man
dad
Queen,
bod.
Russell
So
Crowe.
if you give me any parts, then it's going to have to fit, my agenda, which
This
is
is
the dad bod
This
agenda.
is post-divorce auction Russell Crowe.
Was it?
I don't know. He might have still been married at this point. Because this is 06.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I
Okay,
think
it's
he
a
was
little
still
earlier
married.
than I
But
thought.
like his bod now is definitely post-divorce. I don't care. I'm just gonna show up. Like if
Well, I
you've
mean,
seen
let's
Thor:
face it.
Love and Thunder, like he doesn't care. He's like,
He could
yeah,
get out there the way he is and still play Gladiator, and we'd go watch it.
Probably.
you will fat Russell Crowe Gladiator.
Yeah, why not? We watched Fat Thor. Why not Fat Russell Crowe?
There
And
you
it's
go.
not really fat. It's fluffy. I like
Yeah.
using the word dad bod. Fluffy dad bod.
That's a father thing.
That's a father figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So
not fat. He's just healthy.
Russell Crowe basically is like some sort of stock market guru guy who plays the numbers to make profits.
And he's an asshole.
Yep, he's a total a-hole.
Mhm.
Thinks he's made of gold. He's great. Gets whatever he wants. Type A type of person. Anyways, his uncle, who is played by Albert Finney, you only really see him in flashbacks of Russell Crowe's childhood. And
Okay.
child version of Russell Crowe is Freddie Highmore, who I think played
Ah,
child in like everything back then.
right.
Because this is right after Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and that other movie he did with Johnny Depp.
Now he's playing
Anyways,
autistic.
Albert Finney dies, leaves his estate to Russell Crowe because he's his only living relative. So he goes to this estate in France, and of course, his plans are to sell it, right? Because he doesn't have time for that. He's a busy man in London making money and doing things. And of course, over the course of the movie, it's him like coming to terms with, oh, maybe I need to enjoy life a little bit. There's more to life than making money and being successful. And maybe it's nice being in France. And there's a housekeeper and a groundskeeper who have worked there since he was children. He meets a lady played by Marianne Cotillard. It starts out kind of like they can't stand each other. And then, of course, they fall in love, sort of, I guess. I don't know.
They like each other.
They
at
like
the
each
end,
other,
yeah.
but it's Marion Cotillard. Why wouldn't he like her? But then a young girl shows up who apparently is his uncle's illegitimate daughter, which is weird. She's a British actress, but they have her playing American. And also, like, it's a little cringy, like how like all the men are behaving around her. It's like kind of gross.
Mhm.
Because like Russell Crowe's, is he a real estate agent or his lawyer? I don't know who that guy is. The little
Well,
The little smarmy dude who has the same name as Spider-Man, but it's Hollander instead of Holland. It's Tom Hollander's his name.
I guess it's kind of like his lawyer that's taking care of the real estate and his affairs.
Right.
Mhm.
So, his lawyer's like all thirsty for this. Well, I guess she's an adult. She's like probably 22, 23, but like they make her look like super young. But that could just because, Russell Crowe is like in his 40s.
Yeah.
Did they pull a matchstick man?
Yeah. Anyways, that part of the movie is definitely gross. It's not really funny at all. And looking up on it, I guess when they did the book only described the uncle, and they decided to show him, which those are probably like the best parts of the movie is like the Albert Finney stuff, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and getting to see the boy, him growing up when he was more innocent, or, he taught him
How to play chess and
and just kind of how to enjoy life, and it was a nice time back there. And this house is more like a castle.
yeah.
It's a huge estate with a swimming pool and tennis courts and everything. And so it's really just, a beautiful, wonderful time in Russell Crowe's childhood life. And
So
now
kind of
total opposite.
showing that he was not always an a-hole, basically. Like you said, he had a great life growing up, and his uncle was basically like, hey, enjoy the finer things and don't turn out to be the person that apparently he turns out to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's all about this, and I guess he gets subplot as he's involved in something shady at his job that could get him in trouble, but he works it to where he hit this guy that works under him who's basically power hungry, wants to move up, kind of gets the blame because he gives them the wrong gives them the information to work with, but it's basically a trap. And then at the end, he decides, even though he ends up, I don't think, getting in trouble. Like, I think they even offer him a promotion because, like, we don't know how you did it, but.
Yeah, because he made lots of money for them, and he got out of, because he made lots of money, but he did it like a con, type thing, like wrong, against the law, illegally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he gets off for it, and so now the company, promotes him and makes him this.
Yeah,
big.
It's like what you did was wrong, but we're kind of impressed sort of situation, I guess.
Because the other guy took the throne.
Yeah. But he decides not to do it and goes back to France, even though, and then he also ends up like letting the young lady take over, as like really taking over the winery because she's the actual heir to the estate.
And she knows about wine.
Yeah. Well, she's from California.
Yes.
So
wine country in California. So she knows about wine. And well, there's a caretaker there. There's whole other things, going on within the movie.
The caretaker and the wife who's like the housekeeper. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then but the stuff with him and Marion Cotillard just feels like it's just there to give him like something, like it's not really like needed
to make him nicer, I think, to show like a little bit of a change, with him. And so actually they met as children,
right?
Because
because her mom was one of hers, because his uncle was also a ladies' man.
Oh, right, that's right.
And her mother was one of his uncle,
ladies.
One of his ladies. But I mean, the dude had a huge house with a winery. I'm not surprised he was a ladies' man.
Yeah. And so that the girl ended up being Russell Crowe's first kiss as a child. So, and she remembered him, but he didn't remember her. But in the end, he remembers. Yeah, and they end up liking each other.
So So wait a minute. So okay. So
Sounds like Russell Crowe
It's
got a better
him.
deal than he deserved in this movie. So
his
Yes.
uncle
Yes.
has an illegitimate stepdaughter. So they're
It's
cousins.
no,
yeah,
she's
they're
talking about-
cousins. You're talking about they're cousins because he's the nephew.
Okay.
With
Okay. That just
But Marianne Cotillard is the romantic interest. That's not really.
Yeah, Marion Cotillard is not the.
so she was the first kiss.
She was
She's the first
yes,
kiss.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was trying to
Yeah.
unwind this. I was like, wait a minute.
I think
There's
you
no
I was like,
ancestry
kiss
going
and
on
cousins.
here.
We jump back.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
I was like, did they Game of Thrones this?
Forgive us, guys. It's been a couple of months since we watched it. We didn't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
It's totally forgettable. It was, and it
Oh,
wasn't like a romantic comedy. Like it didn't give you good feelings after it. Like I don't know. It was just there as a movie.
It
Yeah.
it exists, I guess.
So really, the title should be A Year.
Yeah, a year.
Year. Yeah.
It
I
was
don't
fine. A fine years. That's
Yeah.
not even that. That's
A mediocre year.
I don't remember if the book was popular or not. Because it sounds like the movie got made pretty fast, like after the book was released, like almost simultaneously. And I vaguely remember it being advertised just because it was a Russell Crowe, because this is at the height of Russell Crowe was still a pretty well-known name at the movie theaters in 2006. Even though I don't think he really, like after A Beautiful Mind, I don't think he really like was a big, his movies did that well anymore. Like, but he had that star power for a little while. It kept, but this movie, I guess it did okay looking up for its budget, but reviews weren't good. Like they're like, like us. There's like, it's a movie. But I haven't read the book, but it almost wasn't Russell Crowe. It was almost Aaron Eckhart. So I wonder if in the book he lives in America, because I can't imagine Aaron Eckhart doing a British accent.
Oh no, he probably sounded like Keanu Reeves.
No, he was in London.
Oh, he was in London.
Which Russell Crowe's not British either, but it's a little bit easier to have an Australian play a Brit and not seem weird.
Yeah, because
It's not like his Australian accent's like Crocodile Dundee, Australia.
Right,
You know. So
I think he eventually Mel Gibsoned his way out of his accent. Because Mel Gibson's
I guess
Australian.
there are some movies where he has a bit of an American accent, but he has one more than Mel Gibson does. Also, I guess he's a little.
It's easier to posh up a British penal colony accent that you might have to sound more like a Londoner stock market fella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I guess he's the less toxic version of Mel Gibson, because Russell Crowe's got issues too, but I haven't heard of him being racist.
Yeah.
Just likes to throw phones at people. Have little temper tantrums.
Mantrums.
What's another thing I like, and I don't know if this was a choice or they just liked Marion Cotillard better for the role because she was from France, but which I think Eva Green is too, who was one of the actors who auditioned for her role. But there were two younger actors who auditioned for the role, which would have been a more considerable age difference between them and Russell Crowe, because I think Marion Cotillard's like 9 or 10 years younger than Russell Crowe, but this would have been like 16, 17 years difference that they cast the younger actor. So I don't know if that was a conscious choice of them, like, no, we're gonna go with this lady because she looks more like age appropriate for our lead actor, or they just liked her because she's French. Either way, that's cool because that makes it less
Ick now.
oogie now.
But they didn't care
To enjoy later, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't care really
No, they
because
weren't looking at things like that then.
Because like they're like, oh, it doesn't matter that this guy's like in a cane and she's like in college. It's okay. It's cool, right? It's not weird.
But it was fine, and it was pretty. The landscape and everything was real pretty, and the house and all of that. And so, all of visually, it was nice. But the story just kind of fell a little short. He didn't have too much of a change in his demeanor, just a little. But I guess that's also more realistic.
I mean, I guess that's true, but sometimes we don't want realistic.
Right. And in those kind of movies, I think especially too.
Well, yeah, we're fine with realism if it's like a drama or a thriller or anything other than like a comedy or romantic comedy. We want a little bit of like that movie make believe magic in those type of movies. More so, I think, as audience.
A romantic movie where the dude or the girl gets friend zoned over and over again is just it probably not going to make a lot of money. Like I like at the end of the movie, I like you, but as a friend.
I think we could build a really strong, years-long friendship. What do you think?
Yeah, like.
I mean, if it worked in the story,
a good
maybe,
friends.
but I don't know. Like, I don't think there's enough here to make it good because, like, it's just you want him to change because that's what we're conditioned to watch, right? Oh, he's gonna change. He's gonna be a good person now. He's gonna enjoy life, which I guess he does.
A little. He's getting there. He's getting there. It needs a part 2. No,
it does not need a part 2, but that's how it feels. But
another good year.
It's there. I mean, I don't know. I can't really recommend it unless you just want to like watch all the Ridley Scott or Russell Crowe movies.
It was a meh year.
It sounds like it was a really good tourism advertisement for France. It's like, France, wine, beautiful country. Oh, here's Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
That's in the middle of it.
Yeah, maybe so. Like that's what it's good for. So, yeah. Did it give you hygge vibes?
Well, the castle and the landscape and the food and the France and French environment, yes, are hygge vibes. But other than that, it didn't give you that warm feeling which I look for in a hygge movie.
Didn't give you those Miyazaki or Wes Anderson.
No, Wes Anderson's totally hygge. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we managed 22 minutes. I don't think I can.
No, let's talk about a better movie.
Yeah.
It was a 22-minute year, and then we watched The Martian.
Yeah, The Martian, which is this has got to be like the ultimate like Hollywood movie. It's entertaining, it's educational, and you got Matt Damon just being at the height of being a movie star with his charm in this movie. Like, it's got to be one of his best performances because he is most of the movie. Even though this movie is stacked with people, like there's a lot of actors in this movie.
Yeah, I grew up watching a lot of. I'd say a lot of. There's not really a huge genre of survival movies, but I like a good survival movie, especially if someone gets trapped in the wilderness, they have to figure it out along the way. And this one just kicked it up so much because, he ends up being trapped on Mars, and it turns into a whole different type of survival movie. And it was just so well done. And when you think about the concept, it's like, how could they keep this engaging enough for an audience? And they pull it off. I mean, it stays from start to finish. You're just captivated by it. And this has been a rewatch. Like, it's been that good for me. Like, I've been able to go back and rewatch it several times. Have you guys watched the extended version? I knew.
No.
Okay, because I'm trying to remember.
Why
because
did
we
I not
missed
know
out
that?
on this at the theater, and when I
Because
watched
it's
it,
Ridley Scott. He always does an extended version.
No, but how come you didn't tell me?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I did not tell you there's like an extra 20 minutes.
You've started a fight now, Chris.
oh,
Good
Well,
job, Christopher.
now to be fair, it's probably just him surviving more.
yeah,
so
more
it's-
sweating it out for Matt Damon.
Yeah, more figuring stuff out. So I'm not really sure what
That's
the
the
differences
exciting
are
part, though.
because again we missed out on it. And when I did get around to watching it, I was like, well, there's an extended cut. I'm just going straight for it. So I'm not really sure what the differences are between the two cuts, but man, I love this movie.
Where did
It's
you
a
see
really
the
well.
extended cut? You read the book.
You got
That's
all
the
that
extended cut.
Yeah, you beat me on that one. I haven't read the book, which I need to do.
Oh, you should read the book. It's really fun. There are a little bit of differences. Like, there's not the hugging scene when they rescue him, even though in the book he mentions, like, if this was a movie, we'd all be hugging and high-fiving.
Yeah.
And the Winter Soldier dude saves them in the book, not Jessica Chastain, who's the commander. But I understand why they changed it, because she was in charge and she felt guilty for leaving him behind, even though she was thinking about saving the rest of her crew. So I understand why they made her the one to save him.
Right.
When
you
he's
were talking about the survival movie genre. Like, if anybody read The Hatchet in grade school, where you're like, a survival movie on Earth, you're watching it and you're like, what would I do? What's he doing? Why is he doing that? Like, how's that going to help him? On Mars, it's like, I have no freaking idea. He's lucky to be alive, much less trying to figure out potatoes.
Like, I love potatoes too. All right, we got that in common.
But I think part of the reason it's so like intense and captivating, like you said, is because that survival aspect plus the other stories that you're following of like people who are involved trying to figure out, are we just going to leave him there? Like, it's really expensive to get to Mars. Is it worth the gas? Is it safe? And then his whole crew, like, well, we care about him as a person, and we're already here in space. We're going to cowboy our way back to Mars and save our friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was a much needed hit for Ridley Scott, because he had been on a pretty big train since American Gangster, movies either not doing well financially, critically, or both. Like, Prometheus made money, but I don't think it was considered a hit. And I think same thing with his Robin Hood movie. Like, I think it made money, but wasn't considered a hit. And he wasn't supposed to direct this movie. The guy who wrote the screenplay, adapted the novel, Drew Goddard, this is supposed to be his follow-up to Cabin in the Woods, but then got involved in the Sinister Six movie that never happened. Good choice, Drew Goddard.
Oh yeah.
Because Amazing Spider-Man 2, I don't know if you saw that or remember that movie, but that was all like a huge tease for this Sinister Six movie they were going to do.
Yeah.
Sony was planning. And because that movie did pretty bad critically, and then I guess didn't do as well as they wanted financially, they're like, well, I guess we're not doing that movie. So they get Ridley Scott involved, and Matt Damon was already on board, but like I think that like solidified the deal. And I guess part of that was like, oh, Ridley Scott's going back to space, you know? He did Alien.
Huh.
But yeah, I think, and it looks great visually, which usually most of his movies do, but I do think that if Matt Damon wasn't as entertaining and captivating as he is in the movie, this movie wouldn't work.
Yeah, he definitely sells it. Like, it's him talking to himself and doing his little his video diaries and stuff like that. That's
what we really wanted. We just wanted to watch Matt Damon do things.
Yeah. Matt Damon living alone on Mars.
Hasn't Hollywood spent enough money rescuing Matt Damon?
Honestly.
Yeah.
We're always rescuing him.
It's because he's like a human golden retriever puppy. We just can't not I know he's like a grown, much older than me gentleman now, but he has puppy face. And when he talks, you're like, that's so cute. Say something else. This movie has it's not the same energy exactly, but it makes me want to watch Don't Look Up. I feel like those are a double feature for some reason.
What?
What was that?
Don't Look Up.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That
Yeah,
was
there are different energies, but I could see that.
Especially
Yeah.
want to rewatch that movie now that NASA has like started beating up on asteroids for fun to figure it out.
Yeah.
I would say these astronauts are more competent than Ron Perlman, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand why Matt Damon, like, he is just brilliant, right? He's just a botanist, and then like they had all of NASA and JPL and stuff trying to help him along, and he was just seemed like way smarter than all the rest of NASA, with doing these things. So like,
Well, they don't do this in the movie, but in the book, his character has a PhD in botany, but he also has a master's degree in engineering.
oh, that's right, I forgot about that.
So that explains why he's able to, I guess, come up with some of the stuff that he does. But what's interesting is he's the lowest ranked astronaut on that mission, like as the crew.
Yeah. Like, oh no, we forgot the botanist. And like, well,
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
more botanist on Earth, right?
yeah.
Because Jessica Chastain is in charge, and then Michael Pena, the pilot, is next in charge. Then it's the German guy that makes the bomb in the kitchen. Which that's pretty funny when she's like, "Can you make a bomb?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I could do that." Are you sure you want me to do that? You want me to blow a bomb up on our ship? And then it's Kate Mara's character, which I'm not sure what her position or because she's, I guess, the communications person.
It's the tech girl of
Yeah.
some sort. Mhm.
And then it's the other dude, the Bucky, Sebastian Stan. Yeah. And then it's Matt Damon. I guess that's what NASA thinks of botanists too. Well,
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because doesn't Michael Pena tease him like, "Oh, it's not real science."
Mhm.
Oh yeah. At least they didn't get halfway home and be like, wait a minute, guys, where's the botanist?
Yeah,
Oh, we forgot him again.
that's how you get a sequel, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, in their terms, you would have thought he was dead. Like a hole goes through his suit. Like you're like, oh well, he's gonna like his body's gonna decompress in seconds and die. Like, there's no way he survived that.
Right.
But according to NASA and people who watched this movie, even though they said it was really accurate, they're like, they kind of extremed those winds. Like, those winds wouldn't have been that intense at that speed up there.
Those are
Oh,
Hollywood.
and hooray for duct tape. Man, I think that duct tape was like one of the real winners in this
True
movie.
apocalyptic
Yeah.
multi-tool duct tape.
It saved him
Mhm.
multiple times.
Multiple times.
Mhm.
Well, I love that too. In the tent, it goes to show you, like on the early spacecraft, there were areas of the ship that were just a few layers of tinfoil, and it just goes to show you what tinfoil and duct tape can do to
Can
protect
really,
you
really
against the
handle.
harshnesses of space, which is insane,
And
which is crazy to
potatoes and
think
duct
about.
tape, the true star of this movie.
Yeah.
Really
Well,
hold
yes.
everything together.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Did he eat potatoes after he got home? That's the
No.
question.
He did not.
Yeah, it's
That's like the potato diet. Remember, you like, I'm never going to eat another potato as long as I live.
We did that a couple of years ago, and it's where you eat potatoes for 2 weeks straight. You don't season them. You just
I think the concept
You
is
bake a
like
potato.
bringing your cravings and your palate back down to like zero, like starting over, and then building healthier habits on top of that. But it
Yeah.
sucks.
man, we made it. We were
It
like, we
feels
could
like
do
being
this.
stranded on Mars for 2 weeks in potatoes.
But that's what you do. All like you can eat any potato as any amount of potato throughout the day, and you just bake it. And I think we cheated, and I had a little ketchup in mine here and there. But
Yeah, heaven forbid we sprinkle some S&P on these potatoes.
but there were some days where I just nothing but a potato, and we made it the 2 weeks. But after that 2 weeks, you're like, I don't want it French fry. I don't want it fried. I don't want it baked. I don't want it hashed. I don't want it anything. But yeah, it was a lot of damn potatoes, and he was up there for what?
Many cycles. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I just remember a lot of time.
Wasn't it a year that he was up there?
He was over. It was almost 2 years. He
Or
was
2
up there
years, okay.
over a year. It was like 500 days.
Yeah, 560 something, I think.
Yeah.
But they did. I like how they showed, like when they rescue him, how emaciated he is, and just there's sores on his body, and
Man, you can't live off potatoes.
yeah, just
He castawayed for 2 years on Mars for sure.
oh, it was kind of. That's what it made
Yeah.
me think of. As at the end of Castaway, they have that little party for him, and they have that seafood table set up for him, and it's like, guys,
Come on.
I just spent
It's
5
on
years
an island.
I
He looks
don't
at those
ever want to
crab
see
legs and just
shellfish.
slams them back on the tray. It's like the last
Yeah.
thing he wants to eat is crab.
They're lucky Tom Hanks wasn't like tackling live cows out in the pasture somewhere as soon as he
Yeah.
got home.
But that's actually the better double feature, I think, is Castaway and The Martian. That's a good afternoon double feature.
Yeah.
As long as you have snacks. I don't want to watch those movies while I'm hungry.
Well, I mean, that movie, is compelling too, because how did Tom Hanks on an island just talking to a volleyball? How is that captivating for
It was Tom
Well,
Hanks.
Yeah, it's Tom
Yeah.
Hanks. But I do like that this movie does go back and forth, and we have the people on Earth like trying to figure out what to do. And since you went on your potato rant, Chris, what do you like about the Lord of the Rings reference and it's Boromir having to explain what the Council of Elrond means?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty great.
Do they say something like, how do you know her, or something? And I'm like, because he was there.
Yeah,
He was
do not
there.
simply walk back to Mars, guys.
But hey, random Sean Bean fact, he does not die in this movie. He does get fired, though.
Wouldn't that have sucked
Somebody-
at the end? They're talking to Mark on a park bench. He's like, "Yeah, too bad so and so died in a car crash. It just
Yeah.
happens off screen." You're like, "What?"
I think there was like a tweet trend just a little while back, and it was like the difference between sci-fi and fantasy. And they're like, in sci-fi, Sean Bean lives, but bad things happen to him, and in fantasy, he just straight up dies every time.
Well, I mean,
Poor guy.
yeah, that's how I already knew what was going to happen to him in Game of Thrones before I watched it, and I hadn't read the book yet. I'm like, oh, he's dying. And then when they set up the thing in the first episode where they're like, when your dad and your brother went to King's Landing, they died. I'm like, oh, he's so dying at the end
Yeah,
of
that
this.
sounds like a generational curse. Listen to those people, Ned.
I was like, yeah, no, it's like, and Sean Bean was like, fine, I'll show up in your show and be like basically the star for a season and then be killed.
Maybe that's in his contract. Like he puts that in his contracts. Like
I want to headline this thing.
I have to
You're gonna
die.
kill me this soon.
Yeah, I have to keep that record up.
But I mean, he does the right thing, I think, and because he's like what, the flight guy? He's like overseeing
The crew?
the crew.
maybe?
He's kind of in charge of the crew.
Not sure what he's in charge of, but it seems like that. Or
Yeah,
at least he's really,
he actually cares about his astronauts.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the foil to Jeff Daniels, who's supposed to be, which that's funny too in that whole Donald Glover scene when he's explaining his maneuver, and he's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm the head of NASA."
Danny? Was it Danny?
I can't remember what Jeff Daniels.
Teddy.
Teddy. That's
Teddy,
his name.
the head of NASA.
Yeah. But yeah, like even like they get Donald Glover to come in there and do like 10 minutes of being weird and silly, and they could have gotten anybody. And then now we're gonna get even known actors for these little tiny roles where they're just
Was it
popping
Kristen
in
Wiig
for
on
5
there too?
minutes.
Kristen Wiig
What's
was
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig's like the press person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so there's Sean Bean and Jeff Daniels, and then you got God, I can't ever say his name. He's a British actor. He's the guy that's like in charge of the mission.
I know who you're talking about. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, he's the bad guy in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
He's a really good British actor. I mean, there were some people upset because in the book the guy's supposed to be like from India because his last name's Kapoor, and I think in the book, like in the movie, they changed it to Vincent because they were originally going to cast an actor from India, but apparently, and it's I can't remember his name. He passed a couple of years ago, but he was like in a lot of stuff. You guys have seen him. I think he was in Life of Pi. He's the guy in Life of Pi, and he was in one of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. He was the billionaire in Jurassic World that took over Jurassic Park.
Okay. Yeah.
He was supposed to play the role, but he was tied up in a film in India, so they recast the role. But the writer was like, I didn't specify it had to be someone, and so they changed the name. But I mean, at least it wasn't a white dude, you know?
Right.
Yeah, they didn't pull a short circuit.
Yeah.
And have a white what's his name? That guy.
Fisher Stevens.
Yeah, Fisher Stevens.
Yeah. Well, and then the Mackenzie Davis character apparently is Korean in the book, so people were upset about that too. The girl that finds out he's alive on the camera. They did cast a white person for that role. But yeah, I think this is fun. It's entertaining. It teaches us that science is important. Like, hey, science might save your life.
Right.
Maybe people need to watch The Martian again.
It was just as much a character in it as any human was. I mean, it was at the forefront of the show, and that's cool to see a movie showcase science like that, and it become popular, I guess.
And this was nominated for Best Picture. It actually was nominated for a few Academy Awards, but did not win any.
Oh, that's lame. It should have gotten something. I think it was award worthy.
Well, they lost most of their effect Oscars to Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay. Yeah, that was probably a tough year if it was
visual effects. They lost to Ex Machina, which was was crazy that won, but it was kind of cool that the low sci-fi A24 movie won Best Visual Effects over like The Martian and Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and I forget there's a couple other, like everything else was like big Hollywood movies, and Ex Machina won Best Visual Effects.
Yeah.
Matt Damon lost Best Actor to Leonardo DiCaprio because I guess, apparently he's struggled to survive harder than Matt Damon. But I don't remember DiCaprio making poop potatoes. I just remember him getting into a dead bear to stay warm in The Revenant.
Oh, was that the same year as Revenant?
Yep.
Wow. See, I like The Revenant. I think it's a gorgeous movie, and I mean, yeah, it's another survival story. But yeah, that is a tough one. Like I like The Martian a little bit more because there's more going on. I mean, you get more characters and stuff.
Well, it's entertaining. Like you can rewatch The Martian and enjoy yourself. Like The
Yeah,
Revenant is not exactly. Let me pop in The Revenant, have some fun, watch DiCaprio get attacked by a bear.
yeah. That's
Martian
kind of
is a
like
good movie.
Yeah, and
Nope.
I don't need another Tom Hardy movie where I can't understand a thing he's saying.
yeah. His southern accent was off-putting.
No, The Revenant's a very good movie. I'm just not a huge fan of the director, and like I feel like DiCaprio really wasn't acting. It's more like, let me show you what depths I'll go for a role, so you'll give me an Oscar.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, fine, we'll finally give you an Oscar.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely when I say Oscar material, I mean more for cinematography and stuff
Which I
like
believe
that.
it won for cinematography as
Because
well.
I can see, like, I would definitely have to go with The Revenant over cinematography. Like The Martian's a beautiful movie, but I mean, there's still a lot of CG and stuff like that. And The Revenant, they actually traveled to these places and shot some really great outdoor stuff. So, but anyway, back to the Martian.
Mars isn't pretty, so there's
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, there's really no
Yeah,
beauty in the dirt.
Well, apparently they shoot almost every movie that takes place on Mars in like the desert around Jordan and Egypt and places like that.
Huh.
Which is, I guess, makes sense because
like it's beautiful, but in a different way. Like I don't know.
the screenplay was also nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, but it lost to The Big Short, which is the movie about the housing crash and how people profited off of it.
Yeah, that
Which
one.
people were very much into that movie when it came out, even though I don't know, it's good, but I didn't love that movie.
That one went under the radar for me. I don't think I heard of that one.
Well, it's the same guy that did Don't Look Up and the
Oh,
Dick Cheney movie. It's Adam McKay.
gotcha.
You got Steve Carell and Christian Bale and Ryan Gosling, but then you also have like celebrities popping up and explaining things about it. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. I guess that was a more on the topic type of movie the Academy likes than, oh, there's Matt Damon being charming in space and we gotta go save him.
Right.
And it lost Best Picture to Spotlight, which is another topical movie about the Boston Globe uncovering the secrets of the Catholic Church covering up, child molestation charges.
Yeah, I think I remember that movie.
It's actually really good, even though it's, not a subject people want to watch, but, it's
Right.
just about the reporters getting the story.
Mhm.
But yeah, this movie, one of the more entertaining films out of the movies that were nominated that year.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it.
It's definitely more of a popcorn movie, but in a good, but a good way.
Yeah, it's not like it's
Yeah,
like, oh, just let me stuff popcorn down my face and turn my brain off. Because no, you're not turning your brain off.
but you can watch it multiple. I say popcorn because you can watch it multiple times. I've seen The Martian. I don't know how many times. It's a feel good movie. I love to watch it. It's
It's
one of
got to
those
be
good
at
ones.
least over 5 times by
Yeah,
now.
probably. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, same here. It's one of those just like nothing new is out, and I should be watching one of the movies on my watch list, but I'm like, let's go back to a familiar, like a feel good movie. So we'll pop it on. So I can see that. I can see that.
hmm
But why do you love this movie so much?
I don't know. I don't know if it's the potatoes or if
Damon.
it's Matt Damon, but I think the feeling of hope when all is like lost and taken from you and you're left there with nothing, like you could get a sense of hopelessness. But Matt Damon just shows us that sense of hope continuously through the whole thing. And you're like, is he going to do it? Is he going to make it and stuff? And so, and in the end, he does. And it's through like his persistence. And he just, I think he was lecturing at the end, and he's like, you just got to keep going. You solve one problem at a time, and then you go to the next one, and you just keep solving problems. And so it's like a motivator, I guess, for me, maybe for other people too, but just, deal with one problem at a time and just keep going. So it's very hopeful.
It is, and I think, I don't think most of us will ever be on Mars, but like, just if we were in a similar situation, I think most of us would be like, well, I'm dying. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
This is how I go out, I guess. You're like,
Lay
we
here
would
and
be
think about my
defeated.
life.
So this kind of gives you like, oh, no, like as long as you're alive, try to figure out how to survive and get out of that situation.
Especially
But you bring up,
most other space movies are a lot more bleak. Like you're like, it's space, nobody's surviving in space. So I know nobody in this cast is gonna make it out.
Yeah, no one can
hear you scream.
Yeah, exactly.
But interesting you bring up like that little epilogue at the end, because that's not in the book. Because I think in the book it ends like with him being rescued and him like doing like a report or something and saying like, this is the best day of my life or whatever.
See, that's the problem with me watching movies before I read the book, is because the movie sticks in my head more so than the book does. And so it's hard for me to remember the differences between them. When I read the book first and then I watch the movie, then it's different.
But at the same time, then you're not disappointed because you're not like, oh, they cut out this part and oh, there's like this whole blah, blah, blah thing.
Yeah, that's true.
There's two sides to it, but obviously that's also the thing is when you read the book after seeing the movie, then that's who you picture. And
those characters
who you picture in the head as the people that played it in the movie.
Yeah, it's like an exposure bias. Like whichever one you experienced first is the one that you're like, oh, that's the.
Well, it's like,
and then these others are versions of the.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Like I read The Hobbit way before those movies came out, and I kind of had a picture in my head about the how I had them pictured, and then the movie comes out, and now when I read it, or
Martin Freeman's in there for some reason.
Yeah, I'm like Martin Freeman. He's Bilbo now.
Oh,
like that's like those are the characters that I see. Viggo Mortensen will always be Aragorn in my head, even though we have the books, but you just. Yeah, just those pictures. And if I read the book, if I ever get around to reading this book, Matt Damon's going to be.
He's going to be starring.
Mark Watney in my head. Yeah, I'm just.
So I read about this either last night or yesterday. So Mark is short for Marcus, which apparently in Latin Marcus means Mars.
Oh, okay. Neat.
So that's interesting that he gave him that name, and he's stranded on Mars. And this movie takes place in the not too distant future. I guess it's like 2035 apparently, even though it never says. It doesn't feel like it's really the future.
Feels like it's the now.
But I guess that makes sense because we haven't gone to Mars yet. Humans haven't.
Right.
No, but we really started talking about it around the time this movie came out. So in 2035, we'll be rescuing Elon Musk, or we'll be debating rescuing Elon Musk.
There will be definitely heavy debates on it.
Yeah.
That is good.
And then it'll be like, oh no, we debated too long. He's passed. We cannot.
Now we can liquidate his assets and share the wealth.
Yeah, let's liquidate his assets to help pay for health care for people.
Hey.
Please don't send your bot after me.
Get a very nice plaque or statue of some form on Mars. It's like, good job, you did this one thing.
Yeah.
Accident.
Here lies Elon Musk, I guess. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. But anything else you guys want to mention about this movie or why this movie rules?
No, I think we covered it. Like, it's just a great movie. It's a great feel good movie. Like,
Yeah, I'm with Jessica. It's a hopeful space movie, and that's why it's so enjoyable. You don't have to be like, mourn fictional characters after it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get off Mars. I can handle this day that's coming up.
That's true. Nothing in his life now will ever be that big of a deal or stressful because it's like, you know what? I lived on Mars for 2 years and
This is
I
nothing.
survived. So bring it to me unless it's a potato. I don't ever want to see those.
We need your help. The world's potato supply is diminishing. No.
Just get your poop out there in the dirt.
Yeah.
You guys have
Though they did say that it would be hard to grow anything on Mars in reality.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. It was very hard for him to grow stuff on Mars because there's nothing. Yeah.
They said that part of the movie they're like he probably would have died in real life. So, but you know what? Oh, one other thing. All the disco songs, he gives Jessica Chastain a hard time about her music choices. But if you listen to some of the songs they picked, they're actually particularly used for his situation. I Will Survive. Don't Leave Me This Way.
The riding with the hot.
Yeah, with the plutonium, hot stuff.
Hot stuff, yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. Those were particularly used to explain his situation.
That's pretty cool. I like when they do that in a movie. They'll use a song that
the lyrics hit a little harder in that
parallels
moment.
The situation that they're in.
And he will not turn the beat around.
Yeah.
It's not gonna do it. And then I guess they had to play Starman because he's up in space.
Oh yeah. Good soundtrack choice though.
Yeah. Is there any other performances you guys want to bring up besides Matt Damon? I mean, we mentioned it's just got a lot of people in it that we know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in it, and this again.
Donald Glover does a good. It makes me think of Jeff Goldblum's character, like in Independence Day. Like he's really good at what he does, but everybody else is just kind of around him or in his way.
Well, I even like that when he's explaining everything, and the guy's like, I'm your boss, right? Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's just everyone did a great job. I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's a popcorn movie. They were just there. I mean, they did great for what they do. It wasn't. I don't want to say
no one's being showy. They're all just playing their roles, being actors, I guess.
Right.
Even got Wongers in the movie. He's in charge of the JPL design.
Wongers. That's got to be from She-Hulk.
Yeah, it's from She-Hulk.
Okay, we haven't watched that yet. I've heard that I've heard Wongers, and I was like, wait a minute, that's got to be something from She-Hulk.
Yeah, you got to at least watch that episode. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna watch it. We just haven't gotten around to it. I'll probably have to watch it in between Dahmer just to.
Well, yeah, that'd be a good lighthearted thing to watch in between.
Cleanse the palate.
Yeah.
That first episode.
We started Dahmer, and then I was like, we got to watch something after this to feel better.
Moonlighting. I think we watched Moonlighting.
No,
episode.
what were you about to turn on? It was a movie or something, and I was like, well, this is great. This is a real mood changer. Thank you. But it was something like, what did you pick?
It was a horror movie, I think.
Was it another horror movie?
Yeah. I was like, well, we got to watch this anyway. It's Halloween. It's October 1st. Let's, I'm ready to watch some scary movies.
We just watched the scariest thing. I don't think
Dahmer,
I saw half of that episode because I was covering my eyes.
Dahmer did it for sure. And I was like, well, another horror movie. And she's like, no, we got to watch something else.
We
It
do
didn't
that
help
too.
every time I would look away from the first episode of that, I was looking at Chris's bookshelf and staring into the unblinking eyes of a Homer Simpson doll. It was just like, well, this is awkward, isn't it? Can't watch these parts unless we want to sleep. If we don't want to sleep tonight.
Well, I don't know. It's different because, like, Dahmer is terrifying because it was a true story. And then I could turn around and watch just some off-the-wall horror movie that's made up, and it's not as frightening. So I was ready to watch some not as frightening horror movies.
I need comedies, stand up, something.
But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure if we'll get around to a good year. Like, I do want to watch it just to say that I've watched all of the,
You got to mark it off your letterbox.
we've watched all of his other stuff so far, so why not? We can MST3K it or something.
Maybe
Well,
if you
I don't know if it's bad enough to MSTK3 it, but it's not good enough to just watch either.
I don't know. Have some wine, a charcuterie board, and just lean into the French vibe. Some croissants, maybe. I don't know.
Gotcha.
You know.
Put it
But-
on as a background noise for like a little date night at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, maybe that would be the way to watch it.
Right.
But definitely not going in the Ridley Scott Hall of Fame, though I think The Martian has a pretty good chance of being on it.
That's up there. That's probably in some of his best. That is in some of his best work. Like, that's up there with some of his early stuff.
I like my favorite Ridley Scott.
It probably is your favorite Ridley
Yeah.
Scott movie.
Yeah.
I do remember him being shocked when it won the Golden Globe for Best Musical or Comedy, though. He's like, this is a comedy?
It is a comedy. Yeah.
Well, in a way it is, but that was also the Golden Globes like the movie, so they wanted to give it a chance to win an award because it wasn't going to win against the dramas for Best Picture. The Golden Globes just like celebrities coming and
Yeah.
giving awards to them. But yeah, it's a very enjoyable movie, but it's an enjoyable movie that has a little heft to it. And I appreciate that it's about education and the importance of science. Like I said, maybe more people right now need to go back and watch The Martian and then be like, hey, maybe people who are scientists do know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Science people are smart, yo.
Oh no, they didn't.
And this is like the Hollywood version of science. So it's like palatable, and even if you're like, oh, it's kind of hard to follow what they're talking about, it at least like piques your interest. I don't know. It makes me feel a little smarter to watch a movie that has a happy ending and is so STEM heavy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really wanted people to watch, especially in the last couple of years, go back and revisit Outbreak and how important. How important.
That was like trending on Netflix, like at the beginning of COVID when everyone was actually quarantining.
Yeah, Outbreak, Contagion, all of those movies.
Like, people were watching. I'm like, why are you watching this?
Because it's coming true.
Like, that's not going to help your stress levels.
That was there was a game called Pandemic too, like a PC game or something where it talked about like spread and contact and
Yeah,
things like that.
There's a
board
board
game.
game. There's
Yeah.
a board game,
Board
and I
game.
Yeah.
love it. I've played Pandemic. I love playing Pandemic because it makes me feel like I'm curing it, and I've named each of those different like color of viruses or whatever. I've named them all. The yellow is Corona, and there's blue. I call it the bubonic plague, and there's red is mad cow disease. But anyways, yeah, and so I get to cure it, and it just feels good. It's like I did it. I cured Corona. Yeah.
That is like probably a very relaxing, like you know when you can't control a situation, so you control what you can. Like that's a very therapeutic thing to do. Play Pandemic.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is for me.
I play the quarantine specialist because then I can tell people stay where you are.
Nobody move.
Well, when you play the quarantine person, like wherever you are, the disease can't spread any further.
You can't outbreak like around where you are,
Yeah.
like in
Oh,
those
that's
cities.
cool. Mhm.
Yeah. It's like, oh, these connected cities are safe right now.
Because you're there
Yeah.
doing your job.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I have anything else left to say about this movie other than it's just a blast.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on and talking one of your favorite movies with us.
Anytime.
Guess we gotta do
Yeah.
more directors you like.
No, just more movies I like. How
There's
about
more
that?
movies
Yeah.
you like? Okay.
I want to recommend The Informant if you like Matt Damon. That's really
Oh,
yeah.
that's a fun movie, yeah.
that's another funny but serious Matt Damon picture.
Yeah, that is a really
With a puzzle in it, kind of.
That's another one that we throw on here and there.
Loosely based on a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
And
good.
mostly has comedians in the supporting roles.
Yeah, Scott Bakula is in this.
Uh-huh. He's like the head FBI guy on the supposed.
Joel McHale is his partner, and it's that one was really well done. If you want another Matt Damon fun popcorn movie, so.
Okay, check it out.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really fun movie. Well, all right. I guess that's gonna call it. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Yeah.
Y'all as well.
Yeah, y'all too.
Yeah.
Enjoy the weather. It's super nice outside, and we're not sweating to death, which is nice.
I'm not sure what we're doing next week for the show. I think we might do Prometheus. I'm gonna see if the guests can come on to do it. If not, I'll keep you guys up to date on where we're going. But I still want to kind of eschew, since it's October, movies that are sort of spooky related with Ridley Scott and the Coens, which the Coens only really have one that's sort of spooky related. So,
which one did they do? That's,
I guess, Tragedy of Macbeth, because it's got witches in it.
Yeah.
Which that's only one Coen. That's not both Coens. Oddly, but yeah. But all right. Anyone? I don't think anyone was watching this morning. That's fine. You can check it out later here on YouTube, or it'll be up on Facebook and Twitter later when I decide to post it on the page.
Cool.
And then for spooky season next week, we're doing Hellraiser, the original.
Oh, good Lord.
And Nightmare on Elm Street.
I've not seen Hellraiser.
Yes.
I think
I don't do the Hellraiser. Although the new one looks really pretty, the artwork, but yeah.
Oh, well, people are upset. Well,
I think
I'm hearing mostly good things about the movie, but, there's bros out there mad who knew there were Hellraiser bros.
I know.
I guess there's bros for everything.
There is a bro in every fandom, for sure.
I'm tired of them.
Lord of the Rings bros, which that one is the biggest shocker of all. Like, I knew there was going to be some clapback, but man, it is really.
Well, now that the weather is nice, bros, I would invite you all to collectively go outside and touch some grass and not melt, and maybe, just take a minute away.
Insert head into the ground. You thought I was going somewhere else with that?
Yeah, I did.
Maybe just go outside, do some yoga, or maybe just sit still, collect yourself and your thoughts and feelings, and be like, you know what? It really doesn't matter if somebody that's not white or a woman plays a role in a thing I like, because you know what? There are people in the world who are not white dudes, and they like to watch things too. And I don't have to watch this.
I don't
I
know.
don't
That's
have to watch this
character
movie.
arc
Like,
for Rose Cody.
Yeah. All dark-skinned elves are okay. All light-skinned elves are okay.
Oh.
it's okay that the Doctor and Pinhead are women.
Yeah. Kick-ass women are cool.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Yeah.
It'll be all
All
right.
right, guys. Well, thanks for
We
talking
love
it
to
up.
see Jessica's
and
face
Jessica,
every time
yes,
it's
thank you.
here.
Well, we had Olaf briefly, but we got him off the couch because I don't think he would have gave much insight on the movie other than incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Don't know what he would be saying or if he even liked the movie. I don't think he paid attention to that one at all.
He's like, there were no dogs in this movie at all.
Yeah, I didn't hear one bark, no howls.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
All right.
Appreciate it. Goodbye.